Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at the 2024 Senate elections, and I'll be offering my current prediction for these races. We're just going to get right into it here and start by filling out our seats that are safe for the Democratic Party. These are kind of the usual suspects: Washington, California, Hawaii, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, and in this case we're going to add three more: New Mexico, Minnesota, and Virginia. These are all states that have overperforming Democratic incumbents, and in 2018, the Democrats won New Mexico by 24, Minnesota by 24 as well, and Virginia by, I think, 16. So these are states that are very likely to be favorable to Democrats more so than at the presidential level, although, again, Joe Biden will likely win all these states by pretty decent margins. So that's 42 safe seats for the Democrats. For the Republicans, we're going to give them a similar amount: Utah, Wyoming, both seats in Nebraska, North Dakota, Missouri, Mississippi, Tennessee, Indiana, and West Virginia. West Virginia is moving up from likely to safe. Obviously, I was never in doubt that Joe Manchin was going to lose, but I really don't see a path for him. It's a state that Joe Biden lost by 39, will probably lose by a similar amount, if not more, next year. And Joe Manchin is a good incumbent, but he's nowhere near good enough to overperform by 39. So, safe Republican. And then moving on to our likely Democratic states, I only see two here: Pennsylvania and Maine. Both of these are states that Democrats are likely to have incumbents in. I say likely because in Maine we don't know for sure whether Angus King will run. Again, he's an independent, but he won by 19 in 2020, and him and the Democrat Ringelstein, I think, combined for 50 or 65% of the vote. So that's a seat that I think Democrats will be fine in. But either way, in terms of the race in Pennsylvania, Bob Casey's a very good incumbent. He won by 13% last time, and I don't think he'll win by that much this time. But remember, in 2018, he ran against a pretty decent opponent in Lou Barletta, who was a congressman from the Scranton area who had done very well in his House races. So Lou Barletta was no Doug Mastriano. And obviously, this time it's likely that Casey will run against David McCormick, who is a fine candidate. I don't think he's great, but I think he's decent to above average. But either way, Casey outran House Democrats in Pennsylvania. He won by 13 last time, and I think he wins by 6 to 7 points this time. Now, in terms of our likely Republican states, I'm only going to give him one. It's going to be Florida. We don't know whether or not Rick Scott's going to run. I think he will. There's been talk of him running for president. I doubt he's actually going to. But either way, it's going to be a pretty mid to high single-digit win for the GOP, no matter what happens in Florida. So call that likely Republican. And as you can probably tell already, this is a really good map for Republicans because I've only given them their safe and likely states. They're already at 49 seats. They only need to win two more to get that majority. So they have the advantage of playing in a very good Senate map next year. And in addition to that, these remaining 7 seats, 6 of them are held by Democrats, and they only really have to defend one, which is Texas. So that's good for them too. But let's go over to our lean Democratic states, rather. I'm going to give them 2 in the Rust Belt, Wisconsin and Michigan. And just to be fun, I guess, I'll give them Nevada, although I was debating putting that in the tilt column, but I do want to give it lean because I think it's worth putting there. We'll start with Wisconsin. So in 2018, Tammy Baldwin won by 11% over Leah Vukmir. Obviously, Leah Vukmir was not a serious candidate. She was not funded by the national GOP. In addition to that, she ran in a blue environment. But what's worth talking about here is that Tammy Baldwin did outrun Tony Evers by 10, and Tony Evers is by no means a bad candidate. He won last year by 3% in a pretty Republican environment. So I would say, to me, Tammy Baldwin is a pretty good incumbent. She's always been an overperformer. She outran Obama in 2012. So certainly pretty good for Democrats, but the bonus for her is that the Republicans seem right now poised to run David Clark, who's the sheriff of Milwaukee County, who's an election denier and just very far right on the issues. And I think in a state like Wisconsin that's not going to play well, he kind of just fits the mold of Republicans that have really the Republicans that struggled last year, whether that be Doug Mastriano in Pennsylvania, Tudor Dixon in Michigan, Kerry Lake in Arizona, or even in Wisconsin, Tim Michaels. So moving over to Michigan, another lean Democratic race here. The Democrats don't have an incumbent here. Debbie Stabenow is retiring, but I think they'll be fine. They'll probably win by 3 to 4 points. Elisa Slotkin seems poised to be their nominee. She's the congresswoman from the 7th District. She won by 6% last year. And so, obviously, she's not an amazing candidate. she underperformed Gretchen Whitmer. So she's not, to me, great. She's no world beater, but I think she's gonna be fine. She has a lot of money. She'll be very well funded. She's very well liked by the establishment in Michigan among the Democratic Party. So I like her to win, probably by 3 to 4 points. Republicans might run James Craig, who I think is a good candidate, but it's a blue state federally. I don't think Republicans are going to be too keen on competing here because, again, they have a really good map. They don't need to win Michigan to win a Senate. They can just run through Montana and Ohio, and I think they'd be much happier to do that than try to make a race close in Michigan. And so that brings me to Nevada, which is definitely the closest of these seats. In 2018, Jackie Rosen beat Dean Heller, who was an incumbent, and she did fine. I don't think this is that impressive of a victory. I think she's a good incumbent, but this isn't like a victory that I think is super impressive. Although in 2022, obviously Democrats did well in Nevada in the Senate race as well. So you could definitely make the argument that Democrats in Nevada tend to overperform at the Senate level. I wouldn't dispute that, but this is a race where I think Republicans are really hurt by candidate quality. They're likely to run Jim Marchant, who, as I talked about in my previous Senate video, lost the Secretary of State race by 2.5. He underperformed Laxalt. He severely underperformed Joe Lombardo. So there are a lot of problems Jim Marchant poses to Republicans in Nevada, and I think that his just complete inability to moderate is going to really hurt them. So I'm going to give Jackie Rosen the victory by maybe just over 2% here. I think she outruns Biden by a little bit when it's all said and done. So that brings me to our lean Republican states. I'm going to give him 2 here. This can give him the majority. We'll start with Texas. Texas is it's not a seat that I think Democrats can't win. It's just that I don't think they're going to. They are in a decent spot. Colin Allred's a good candidate. Ted Cruz is not a popular incumbent. I understand that. I do think Colin Allred will likely outrun Joe Biden by maybe a point or so. But the problem the Democrats have in Texas is that they haven't, and I talked about this in my documentary, so go watch that, please. But they haven't surpassed the hump yet. They will likely do well in Denton and Collin County. I think Colin Allred flips those counties. Denton specifically swung 24% to the left between 2012 and 2018 in those Ted Cruz Senate races. And Tarrant County was won by Beto O'Rourke. He was the first Democrat to win it federally in a very long time. Then Joe Biden won it by a similar amount in 2020. So I think that all 4 of these Dallas counties are going to be blue. I also think that Colin Allred will do especially because he's from Dallas. I also think Colin Allred would do very well in Austin. I think he'll win Williamson County, which was very close in 2020. I think he'll get very close to winning Bell County, and I think he'll also do well in Caldwell County, which, again, these are all counties that in 2020 were pretty close that voted for Trump. So he'll win a few of the suburban counties that have historically been Republican. I'm not disputing that. The problem that he has is that he can't do well enough in Houston. He's not from there. He's not someone that I think Democrats are going to expect to do well, and especially when you look at Montgomery County, which is actually of all the counties in the nation, it's the county that nets Republicans the most votes. Montgomery County netted Cruz, so you can see here, 86,000 votes in 2018, if my math is correct, just off the top of my head. I don't think that Allred will be good enough to do better than Beto O'Rourke there. Even though it is a left-trending county, I don't think he'll do well enough there, and I think he'll fall short because he won't be able to do well enough in the Houston area, and because the trends in Dallas and Austin are great for Democrats. It's just we're not far enough into the future where they can win off of those cities alone. So call me skeptical of Democrats winning Texas. It's possible. They have a roadmap to doing so, but I'm putting it in the lean Republican column. Ohio, kind of an opposite. It's, Democrats have an incumbent there in Sherrod Brown. He's a very strong incumbent. He's going to do everything he can to win, but it's a very right-trending state. And when you look at how he did in 2018, this is just not at all a performance that Democrats can replicate. When you look at the numbers he got, especially in Mahoning County, which is the county that Joe Biden lost by a point, Brown cracked 60. He won Trumbull with 58%. Biden lost that county by 10%. He won Ashtabula, Lake, and Portage. These are all counties that Joe Biden lost by mid to high single digits. So when you consider that there's a presidential election on the ballot, which Donald Trump is likely to win by 10% in Ohio, something like that, I don't see how Sherrod Brown can win re-election. Now, it's a lean race. He's an overperformer. He outran Richard Cordray by 11% in 2018. But the problem for Democrats here is that in 2018, Jim Renacci didn't really, he was cut off by National Republicans. They didn't invest in his race. And now, Ohio is one of the most important races for Republicans to win control of the chamber. So they're going to invest in, whether it be Bernie Moreno or Frank LaRose, either way, it doesn't really matter. They're going to invest. And Sherrod Brown is a good incumbent, but when you look at his previous coalitions, they are not coalitions that I think our Democrats are capable of replicating. If he's going to win, he's going to have to hold on to a lot of these voters, which he's capable of doing. But the thing is, he's never really been a guy who's been able to win over the suburbs, and that's not to fault him. Democrats haven't won over the suburbs in Ohio ever, but when you look at his over performances, he's stronger with working class voters than he is with suburban voters. And so for that reason, I'm a little skeptical of his ability to win. He can win. It's lean and not safe, but I think he's a pretty clear underdog to win re-election. And so that leaves these next two seats, Montana and Arizona. We'll start in Arizona. I'm going to give that to Ruben Gallego. I don't really know whether Kyrsten Sinema is going to run. If she doesn't run, I'm going to move it to lean Democratic. If she does run, I think I'll keep it in tilt. But the problem the Democrats have here is that Sinema will likely take away the votes. Because, again, I'm assuming that Republicans are going to run either Carrie Lake or Blake Masters, both of whom are below-average candidates. I think we all know that. Ruben Gallego, I think, is fine. I think he's going to do all right. He's about replacement level, I would say. But when we talk about these candidates, I'm going to go give Gallego a B grade. I'm going to give Lake an F grade, and I'll give Masters a D flat, I guess a D minus, D flat. But when you look at this race in general, I think Sinema would take away votes from Gallego because there'd be a lot of moderate voters in the suburbs who maybe voted for Joe Biden, voted for Mark Kelly, and some of them voted for Katie Hobbs. And they're going to say, well, look, I don't want to vote for Lake or Masters, but I'm also not sure about Gallego. I'm just going to vote for Sinema. And I think that if you take away Sinema from the equation, those voters would break towards Democrats. And so that's why I'm concerned about Gallego if I'm a Democrat. If Sinema runs, if she doesn't run, I think he's pretty clearly favored. But for now, I'll keep it in the tilt column. But TBD on that race. Then there's Montana. Montana's so close. I don't really have a strong feeling on this race. I think for now, just because Jon Tester's the incumbent and because it seems like Matt Rosendale is going to run, I will give it to Democrats just very, very narrowly. But when you look at, I do actually want to go over to House race in 2022 because Matt Rosendale, who I think is the front runner for this seat for Republicans, he only won in this district by 35 points. And you could say, well, look, there was an independent. And I understand that. But again, there's no evidence this independent didn't take away votes from the Democrat, too. And the fact that Rosendale only got 57% of the vote in this district, which is like Trump plus 50, was like super red. And when you look at the fact that he lost to Jon Tester in 2018 and he actually didn't even get to 47% of the vote here, I'm not sure if I'm confident if I'm a Republican. They can win this seat, but Tester has historically overperformed. And like the thing is, he's different from Sherrod Brown in the sense that in 2018, Republicans actually went after him, and he still won by 3.5. And they actually had a good argument, in my opinion. Their argument was in 2018, look, Jon Tester votes with Chuck Schumer 90-something% of the time. You have to vote Republican here. Donald Trump made it a personal goal to oust Jon Tester, and he won in 2018. And so having Trump on the ballot in 2024 is going to really hurt Democrats in Montana. I understand that. But again, if Republicans couldn't do it in 2018, I don't know if I'm confident they can do it this year. Donald Trump is going to win Montana, but I don't know if it'll be by enough to down Jon Tester. So right now, if you made me guess, I would say Tester wins. I think that opinion will possibly change as we get closer to the election, as we get more polling, but he's popular right now, and I think I'd rather be him, but it's going to be very close, and I think it's foolish to have any bold opinions about this race specifically. So that's my map right now. Again, the only race I don't feel great about is Montana. I think you could easily go red today, but 51-49 Republicans get a majority. They flip Ohio and West Virginia, hold on to Texas. That's the majority right there. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. We've been growing really quickly these past couple of days. I've been so grateful for that. Thank you for 6K again. Videos coming out soon. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.